Welcome to the Bionicle Comedy Central podcast, the one and only Bionicle Comedy Central podcast. I'm Chris Major 2124, who made it all up on the spot.
I'm Mate3739.
And I'm LQ1998, and I'd just like to congratulate our channel and thank all our viewers for making us the second result on Google for Bionicle Comedy, right behind Bionicle Comedy Club Russian.
Matarasha!
I don't even know what that's about. We should pass them soon.
Yeah, we should just get them on board, you know.
I don't know, let me see. It's a video, actually, not...
Oh, it's a video, not a channel?
Yeah, this video is unavailable, safety mode enabled.
Ooh.
Oh, no. Yeah, we need to pass them. Okay.
This reminds me of like the, space race where, it's Americans versus the Russians, and we decide to get along and we both work on the same International Space Station.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Alright, so today is going to be interesting, to say the least, because, well, let's give some background. At Bionicle Comedy Central, we've been speculating about the storyline, and there have been rumors from Greg Farshdi, the one and only Greg, Prophet Greg, that the storyline is going to be a reboot in a sense. So what we're looking at here is 2001 to 2009 was a great storyline, but that we're starting over for 2015. Some of us are pumped. Some of us, and I'm not going to point fingers here because we're not on camera, absolutely do not like the idea of a reboot and would love a continuation. That'd be me. So today we're going to just hash this out once and for all and debate whether or not Bionicle should be a reboot or a continuation. To get some loose definitions, we may go into more detail in a bit, but to get some loose definitions, if Bionicle is a reboot, that means that 2001 through 2009 may have happened, but we're starting back over again for this new series. So we're starting at the beginning of the story for 2015. A continuation, on the other hand, takes years 2001 through 2009, keeps those in the storyline, and then just keeps building from that. So, you flipped the lucky guitar pick and the turtle failed me. So, you guys want to go ahead and make your case?
Okay. I will be representing the for side on a reboot. So, first we gotta talk about what is a reboot exactly. A reboot is like taking the same universe, but telling the story in a different way, or telling a new story with the same universe. Kind of like Spider-Man movies, how they redid it. It's still the same principal story, but it was very different. We had the Lizard and then Electro and all that, but it was still the same principle. It was still Spider-Man, and you can see this throughout comic books and movies. Remakes are done all the time, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But with Bionicle, I personally think a reboot or a remake, whatever you want to call it, would be a good thing. First of all, we gotta look at this from a business perspective. Bionicle had 9 years of intimately complex storyline. And for the most part, once you got really into it, you wanted to know it all, which was a good part of it, but the kids today, they're not going to want to go back and find all these sources to find 9 years of story. Now, there is a solution to this. The other side could debate that it could be a soft reboot, which means it'd just be like a long time in the future, like that stuff happened, but none of it matters. But still, this way it's easier because we have a whole new source. Everyone's learning at once. Everyone can enjoy it at the same pace together. It's just easier, and set sales will be better from it. Now, there's also the side looking at how this could be good from a fan's perspective. For one, when Bionicle ended, nearly all the mysteries had been revealed. We knew about the Great Beings, we knew about the Monui robot, all the Spirus Magnus stuff. Not much was left to be told anymore. With this, we have opportunity for completely new mysteries to come into the story. We can speculate all we want about them. We can have fun trying to figure them out. We might get something as big as Finding Me a Robot again, or we might not. But either way, we'll have something new to explore again. And one more point that could make this good from a fan's perspective: they can't mess with our old canon. What if Bionicle's not good when it comes back? They can't mess with our old story we had. They can't ruin it at all, because this is a different story. Our old story is still there in its pure form. So, that's the opening statement for my debate.
Alright, as soon as I finish scribbling things down. Mace, you have anything to add before I crush you two?
Nah, I'm good.
You sure? This is your moment. This is your big moment.
Mace is very neutral on the issue.
Yeah.
He's a moderator. He's going to push us to opposite sides of the chat window if we start fighting. Yeah. It's funny because on my screen, Mace is separating my profile picture from your profile picture. Yeah. Good job, Mace. All right. Here's my poorly scrawled out case. I should honestly post pictures of my podcast outlines to the BCC so you can know what the heck I'm scribbling while we're talking. Okay, so I stand in negation of the resolution that Bionicle should be rebooted for 3 reasons. Well, first, first, it appeals to 2 different sets of generations, the old and the new. The old Bionicle fans have been around since 2001 through 2009, jumping on the hype train halfway through, or starting from the very beginning all the way through. And in some cases, for some unlucky souls, starting at a journey's end and watching as it died. And we have the new fans. I recently went into a store the other day to buy some Lego just for the heck of it. And I saw a kid looking at Hero Factory stuff. And I said, hey, guess what? Bionicle 2015 is continuing. Because he was wondering about the whole Hero Factory thing. And all of a sudden his eyes lit up, and you could just see the fury and the excitement that Bionicle 2015 was coming back! I'm shaking my notepad here, so that's the sound, I guess. So we would be able to unite 2 groups of fans through a new continuation. The old, by keeping the storyline intact, and the new, by offering them a new place in the storyline to start off with. A new chapter to the saga. Second, I'd like to back up my argument with the case of Ninjago. We all know in the Ninjago storyline that everything starts at Kai becoming a ninja, all the way to Serpentine, Golden Dragons, ninjas fighting Ninjroids, and apparently they ended up in space. That's speculation for another time.
Oh, spoilers. I still haven't watched the TV show for a while.
Well, you know what's gonna happen. Ninjroids that kick Ninjroid butt.
But I've been rooting for Ninjago in space for like 2 years now.
It happened.
You heard it here. I called it. I called it long ago.
So there you go.
Ooh.
But what happened?
Okay, we gotta pause here, because this is what I've been expecting a long time. Ever since the Mega Weapon went up into space and was the star, I'm guessing they're going to get the golden weapons from the star.
Oh my gosh. This is an entire podcast topic on its own for Ninjago.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. I speculated that from the moment the golden weapon went into the sky.
Nice.
Okay, you may continue, Chris.
Alright. So before we sent our beloved Kai, Cole, Jay, Zane, and Lloyd into space to get this mega weapon, I don't know, I haven't seen the episode, what happened beforehand? We had Sensei Wu. We had Garmadon. We had a whole bunch of characters fighting the Serpentine in days of old, fighting the Overlord in days of old, and making Spinjitzu in the days of old. If Ninjago, for some reason, were to do a similar Bionicle-style reboot, do you think they have an advantage in starting over the storyline? Perhaps they could write the prequel that never was. In the same sense, if Bionicle 2015 is a continuation, they will be able to write the sequel that we never had. It doesn't matter if all the stuff has been done. The past is in the past. We can still appeal to the old fans and the new fans by picking up where we left off, starting a new chapter, and moving forward. Lastly, Bionicle can indeed make new mysteries. It was a complete shock that the whole time we were inside the body of a giant robot. But who says that the brilliant minds at LEGO can't do this again? Perhaps the whole universe is in a giant robot, which would be a little bit overdone. I don't know. Perhaps the original 6 Toa were not made and trained by Artaka. Perhaps they were lied to. Perhaps they're from an entirely different universe. Perhaps Matt and Nui lied to them the whole time. Perhaps Makuta was trying to save the universe or whatever. Who knows? What you can do is you can create a new mystery. And if you do not want to mess with the old canon, you could start up a new mystery, as if the giant robot had to start at some point. My opponents have argued, however, that a reboot is just taking the same universe, but a new story. But the whole Bionicle universe is defined by the story. At this point, they're entirely inseparable. So the universe does change if you have a new story. We have an old universe that we simply copied, pasted, and generated toward a 6-year-old audience, which is not always the best thing for the fans. As for a business perspective, this isn't good for LEGO's PR. However, I said that they can appeal to 2 generations, the old and the new. Now, LEGO has not tended to like their classic sets because it draws people to eBay, Bricklink, etc. away from LEGO.com. But what is stopping LEGO from releasing a reboot set of a certain beloved Toa or beloved Toa set on their website? What is stopping them from that? Third, I said the fan perspective, all mysteries have been solved. Please refer to my mysteries argument. Bionicle can create new mysteries again, because the giant robot had to be a new mystery at some point. You can simply start new mysteries and continue forward. Lastly, my opponent argues that they can't mess with the old canon. However, a reboot already messes with the old canon. I've defined that I've said that the universe and the story are linked. But if we completely reboot the universe, we completely reboot the story and the old canon. Thank you. I now stand ready for cross-examination.
I object to that last point.
I know you do.
Okay.
You object to all of these.
A reboot cannot mess with the old canon because it's just like a movie reboot cannot mess with the old movie's canon. It just
It replaces it.
It doesn't replace it. It's beside. It's not over, it's beside. You have a canon here and a canon here. They're not mingling, they're not destroying one another.
Let me ask you a question. If for some reason you go off to college and your parents adopt someone who's almost exactly like you and bring them into the house, would you say in a sense that they've rebooted you?
No. But
why would you not
I
say
don't
that?
think comparing a toy line to a person is an appropriate comparison.
Bionicles are people too, said no one ever. But we've grown to love these characters.
I know, but the thing is, we still get the same characters.
They are not the same characters. They've been rebooted.
Yeah, but either way, like, there's always that safety if it's a reboot. Like, what if the characters are very different now? We have that safety of knowing, well, this isn't the original Bionicle. That Bionicle ended a long time ago and it was still good. Well, these characters are a different Bionicle.
But it's going to completely overwhelm everything else. So, the old Bionicle...
I think if the fans stayed together for 5 years waiting for this reboot, that they're not going to let the old canon be forgotten.
I'm thinking if anything, Lego's... Because remember what happens with any old thing Lego does. They cover it and they try to ignore it.
They tried to do that with Bionicle, but it didn't work.
Yeah,
we look
but
at this,
now they'll be able to go on the offensive because now they have an adequate replacement. And they tried with Hero Factory, and Hero Factory failed.
But look at this place as like Bionicle Media Project. There's a whole group of people who've devoted their time to just carbon copying everything from Bionicle and storing it for all our use. That can never go away. They have so many copies of that.
That's because Lego had nothing to fight for our attention. But with the Bionicle 2015, they will have something to fight for our attention. Because in the end, it is all about the advertising. If Lego can convince us that Bionicle 2015 is the best thing since sliced bread, because sliced bread is pretty great, honestly. If they can do that, and they'll start winning over fans from there. And in a sense, 2015 will have taken over for the old series.
Well, if it's good enough to do that, I don't really see a problem in that.
Yeah. Well, what happened to the old stories where?
Trust me, we've got I'm pretty sure no one at the PCC is going to be forgetting the old story, and there's lots of people like us out there.
Yeah, I'm not claiming forgetting, but at the same time, who defines Bionicle?
Well, it used to be Greg,
That was an rhetorical
but
question.
he's a Taraga now. And we all know Taraga have no real power.
Yeah, that's in the story, my friend. All right, let's see here. That is not the right page. Ah, there we go. There's the page. Who owns the copyright for Bionicle?
Lego.
Exactly. Who gets to define what happens to Bionicle?
Lego.
Because they
Own it.
own the copyright. Now, does Lego care about using their copyright to promote an old series that they can't sell anymore, or using the copyright to promote a new series that they can sell?
Your argument seems slightly invalid because you're going off the point of it covering the old Bionicle instead of...
That's what Lego does.
Yes, but they've been trying to do that for years with Hero Factory. Even if they do, I don't see there being a danger in covering the old Bionicle. Like, there's so many Lego themes out there, people have just not forgotten. We still see more renditions of classic space all the time because people love it. And their Bionicle had an even more die-hard fan base. No one will forget the old stuff, even if they're concentrating a bit more on the new.
True, but the hype of a new series will get people on board. Because I think back to Orient Expedition, there was huge hype about that. It was Adventurers Rebooted, and everyone focused on Orient Expedition, and there's a little bit of stuff on Old Adventurers, but everything was about Orient Expedition. And then all of a sudden, poof, everything closed with Adventurers, and they went back to both sides. But at the same time, Lego got their victory by promoting the old and removing the focus from the new. Sorry, promoting the new, removing the focus from the old. Yeah.
Oh, are you finished?
Yeah.
So...
Sometimes enough has been said.
I just don't see any danger in the old canon being hurt. I just don't think... We've lasted 5 years. A new Bionicle cannot hurt the old Bionicle any more than it not being around would. Because at least with a new Bionicle, we have something there reminding us back to the old. There's tons of references to the old Bionicle in these sets already.
True. However,
Yep.
What keeps the old storyline alive?
The fans.
The fans.
Yeah.
What is Lego going to want to target in order to get their new line going?
The fans, of course. But
The fans.
the more
But
we
by
talk about the new Bionicle, the more we're going to want to compare it to the old Bionicle.
Yeah, some of the fans.
I'm pretty sure
However,
all those old fans are going to want to do that.
yeah. How about the new fans though?
Well, we just gotta face something. No one is going to become such a die-hard fan of the old Bionicle at this point. It's something you had to experience. It's just not something you can come up on 5 years after it was gone.
Yep, that's the problem. However, if Bionicle were a continuation, we would have fans all on the same level. In a sense, having a reboot of Bionicle divides up the fans. We could have our fandom just explode in numbers if it's a continuation. But by dividing up into old Bionicle and new Bionicle, we're drawing lines.
How many people do you really think would take the time to go back and read 9 years of books, comics, online games, animations, and movies?
You'd be surprised, actually. I did.
Yeah, but
I came in 2009, bro.
It's just, think of it. A lot of the, let's say, Lego's primary focus on any theme ever has always been 7 to 12-year-old boys. Most of them will not have free reign on the internet. Most of them aren't going to be able to find all this stuff even, or even know it exists. Most of them are not...
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I was all over the internet when I was 8.
Yeah, well... You're a special case.
I'm special. Special ed.
But, yeah, I just don't see that they'll be... Like, how are they even going to find out about Bionicle Media Project? Because they're not going to be involved in the fan community. The fan community usually consists of the fans at least 12 and up.
But at the same time, what would be better? To have the fandom divided into 2 parts? or to have it as one fandom where they may not go and search for all the old stuff.
Well,
but at the same time, we're on the same storyline.
Well, we'd still be on the same storyline either way with a reboot. In fact, we'd all be on the same storyline.
It'd be different storyline. Adding the Mask of Creation alone changes the storyline.
Well, there always was a Mask of Creation. That's just a reference to the old Bionicle.
Yeah, it was a reference, but now the Mask of Creation is a huge deal, which automatically changes the story. Consider if this is a reboot, we already have our sixth beloved Toa looking for the Mask of Creation, which is not the same as the original storyline.
I just don't see how it could be dividing the community.
Because you'd have two different storylines.
Yeah.
We have the 2001 through 2009 storyline.
Yeah, but why couldn't we just enjoy both?
Because it's hard. Because they're conflicting. People don't like conflicts. They love resolution.
But they're not conflicting.
They are conflicting. They're
coexist.
Storylines, man.
Look, I've pretty much went through everything there is about Bionicle twice. I've read all the serials, all the books, all the comics, played all the games. I'm ready for a new storyline, and I'll be fine to coexist with a new storyline.
Well, that's honestly impressive, because I don't know a lot of people who can do that. Like, if let's say Greg and Christian, they got together, they're writing the I'm trying to think of a good saga to do this with. Yeah, let's do Metro Nui, okay? So, let's say Greg goes ahead and writes Metro Nui the way it is, as in Morbuzak attack, Toa Metru rise up, defeat the Morbuzak, find the discs, Matoran go in capsules, and they manage to save the Matoran after a giant duke out with Makuta. Now, let's say Christian comes along, he has a different idea for Metro Nui. And now it's the same Metro Nui, same characters, same exact everything, except for the fact that the Morbuzak turns out this time to be a great being, manifested inside the Mask of Destiny. I'm just making this up as I go. Who the Toa Metru defeat, but first they have to learn their elemental powers and seek Turaga Makuta's help in order to defeat the Makuta Morbuzak or whatever.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds ridiculous. Yeah, but let's say they both wrote the same storyline, and they both put it on the table and say, all right, here's the Metro Nui storyline. You're going to be all, well, which one?
Well, this isn't being wrote at the same time. This is almost 10 years. Yeah, no, literally 10 years since that happened. If we retold something, let's see, Bionicle started in 2001, it'll be coming out in 2015. That's 14 years since the original story. A good story can be told very many ways and still be good.
So, in this scenario, you're assuming they wrote them at the exact same time.
I fail to see how that goes into this debate.
Yeah, it goes into the debate because if you have two storylines, which the elements are the same, but there are a few things that are different, then you have different stories. And the better way for a fan base is to have one consistent story that everyone goes to, because that's how you build
comics
fans.
have kind of zoned that out.
Yeah, comics do a terrible job with that.
But yeah,
and what do a lot of people do? Like, I don't read the comics at all. I'm new to the fandom. I go right in. I just watch the movies because the comics are just way too confusing.
And the movies what? The word has left my mind. This happens too often. Anyway, the movies are a reboot of the comic book stories, and they've not divided the comic book fans against the other fans. In fact, they've united more people in with the comic book fans, and then people like me, who's just started out with the movie, go on and research about the old comics and find out the story that goes along, compare and contrast the differences and what I like better about them. It doesn't divide the community, it unites it.
Well, then you have the guys who complain that each movie's inaccurate, they did a terrible job with this, that,
well,
whatever.
No matter what, there's always going to be the people that complain.
Yeah, there always is, but you can take measures to reduce the number of people who complain. The thing is, the old fans are always going to be complaining, but you can reduce the number of old fans who complain.
But you could that could also be increasing the number of new fans that complain that there's too much story to learn, that there's too much stuff, that it's been going on too long, there's too much they can't understand, they can't get into it.
Ninjago storyline. There's a whole prequel's worth of stuff there.
Ninjago's only been going on for 4 years now, and with a much simpler plot than Bionicle. Bionicle went on for 9 and had a much more advanced plot.
But it is like, I think the second theme, correct me if I'm wrong, is the second theme that ever had a reboot.
Ninjago's wasn't as much as a reboot as a continuation that wasn't planned on originally.
Exactly.
It was
Now,
because
wait,
it was
now-
year after year. It was we had no gap in between.
Actually, we did have a gap.
Did we? Well, sort of half a year gap.
Either way, it's a gap.
Not a 5-year gap from which is a total of 14 years from the story start.
All right, I'll go with that for now. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to look this up later, but right now I'm not going to look this up. But with the Ninjago storyline, what would have stopped them from simply rebooting the series?
Because the fans at the time were still present. The story was still simple, easy to understand, easy to get into. They had no reason to reboot it.
Yeah, well, actually, they could have just entirely rebooted it for the sake of
Yes, but
getting a new storyline in place.
they could have,
start
but it
fresh.
wouldn't have went
Yeah,
over because they didn't need to start fresh. They hadn't been going on for 9 years. They didn't need to get new fans. Their old fans were still their primary target. And let's face it, no matter how many old fans do return, we're only going to be a small percentage of who's going to be buying these new sets.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're getting the new fans on board. But what if they had to combine in power of the old fans and the new fans? Then Ninjago,
Well,
they
wait.
rebooted it the way they did for the sake of the old fans.
If you look on
Imagine what kind.
If you
Oh,
look
go ahead.
on boards like BZ Power, the TTV message board, Mask of Destiny, you'll see an overwhelming percent of fans like me who want a reboot rather than a continuation.
That's only because the question is offered. Would we be thinking the same way if would we be thinking the same way if Lego said, "Oh no, it's gonna be a continuation right off the bat"? We'd be all, "Oh yeah," but then as soon as they suggested the idea of a reboot, then you start getting people on board.
Well, this was before Lego ever it was talked about a lot. People have been talking about the return of Bionicle for years, and a lot of people have said
Yep.
they want a reboot if it returns.
What sources?
BZ Power, TTV,
DC Power.
Mask of Destiny.
I need to look up all these sites. I only know BC Power and Brickset. Everyone whines on Brickset.
Yeah, Brickset's not an accurate source of information.
No, they're pretty
find
good.
Euro
I like Brickset. The
don't-
fans are the problem, though.
Yeah, the
We all
Eurobricks,
get
I
upset.
generally don't find their opinions helpful either.
Because we cry a lot. But anyways. Let me think for a second.
I've broken
Like,
him. I win.
I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. It's not working. They say the mark. I think it's like the mark in an idiot is a guy who does the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
hmm
I'm an idiot.
Actually, I think it's the definition of stupidity.
Are you just gonna correct me throughout this whole thing? Actually, it's this. Actually, it's that.
Okay, well, we went on for about 25 minutes with the debate. Mace,
Yeah.
who would you say won?
Oh,
Don't worry about being nice.
I'm not sure. I think pretty even.
Well, guess we're gonna have to take this to a poll then.
Yeah. Well, we did a poll like this last time, but you know what?
Well,
We're gonna do
this time
poll
I'm
again.
going
It's
to
worth
make an
rehashing.
actual poll rather than comments, so people don't even have to be logged in to YouTube to answer it.
Perfect.
I'm sure there's a site out there that can
It's-
do that.
Well,
Wait,
I'm gonna go ahead and say
No,
comment on if you think you'd rather have a reboot or rather have a continuation, because comments are always helpful. And state your case.
okay. Well, before we end, there's this new thing I want to start up. I meant to do that at the beginning of the podcast, but I didn't get a chance because I forgot. I'm going to take a quote from my collection of Bionicle books and comics, and you guys guess what character had said it.
I'm gonna flop.
Okay. Like I said, I just remembered I wanted to do this again, so I gotta find a good one. By next episode, I'll do it at the beginning and I'll find something right away.
Right on. So this is like Bionicle trivia time.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, we may be doing that for a future podcast.
Yeah.
Just total BCC trivia sesh.
Okay, here's the quote.
All right.
Anua, mind control these things.
I'm guessing Lua.
No. Anua, not Onua.
Oh, the Turaga. Matao?
Nope.
Ew.
Mace, you
I
want
hear
to
the
take a guess?
Yeah,
When
go
you-
ahead.
Wait, do you say Wenua?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's correct. First try. Yeah, I'll be doing one of these at the beginning of every episode now, so someone start taking a tally.
May I start crying?
Okay.
Ah!
Well, actually, I was gonna say we can wrap it up now, but I'll take that.
At this point, we kind of should go ahead, wrap it up. Let me mourn in peace.
Anytime now.
Oh yeah, I'm logging off now. Okay. So from all of us at Bionicle Comedy Central, thank you so much for watching. As usual, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you did subscribe, thank you for subscribing. If you're on the edge about subscribing, just hit subscribe, because what can you lose? Absolutely nothing. There's
Except
your
your
answer.
sanity, your integrity, your
That's
lunch.
something worth losing. Well, the sanity part. I like to keep my lunch, unless it's... Well, it depends on the dining hall I'm at. So, from all of us here at Bionicle Comedy Central, I'm Chris Major 2124.
I'm
here with
LQ.
LQ and... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
You can sign
LQ
yourself off.
1998.
You're an
I'm
independent white man.
Mace?
Sorry,
think we
Mace, I
talked
totally
over him.
interrupted.
I'm Matthew739.
And thank you so much for watching Bionicle Comedy Central. So, until next time, sayonara.